I have always believed that true strength never needs flaunting, and real wealth never needs pretense. For the past 4 years of my university life, I have kept an extremely low profile, living a simple and ordinary life among my classmates, never revealing my family background, never showing off my wealth, and never participating in the vain comparison and vanity competition in the campus circle. To every teacher, every roommate, and every classmate around me, I was nothing more than an ordinary poor student who came from an ordinary small family, living frugally, wearing cheap street clothes, and working part-time after school to support my daily expenses. My name is Xin Qing, and I am a senior student majoring in business administration at the most prestigious university in the city. On the surface, I am just a quiet, introverted, and humble student who never takes the initiative to socialize, never joins rich student groups, and never participates in luxurious campus parties. But no one knows my hidden real identity. I am the sole heir and absolute behind-the-scenes owner of the famous Qingyu International Hotel chain, the top high-end hotel group that dominates the city's luxury hospitality industry. All the 7 5-star luxury hotels, 33 high-end boutique hotels, and countless resort hotels under the group's name are completely under my personal ownership. The total assets under my name have long exceeded billions, and I am the real top-tier hidden wealthy tycoon in the city. I chose to hide my identity and enter university as an ordinary student purely to experience a normal youthful life. I was tired of the endless business dinners, greedy flatterers, and hypocritical upper-class social interactions. I wanted to spend my last few years of youth peacefully, quietly studying, living simply, and staying away from all the vanity and complexity of the wealthy circle. Therefore, I deliberately concealed all my identities, refused all special privileges, cut off all external exposure, and even took the initiative to take a part-time job as a daily cleaner at the flagship 5-star Qingyu International Hotel in the city center every weekend, just to experience the most ordinary grassroots work life and keep my heart grounded. I thought my low-key life would continue peacefully until graduation. I thought that as long as I was humble and tolerant, kept a low profile, and did not compete with others, I could smoothly finish my university career without trouble. But I never expected that my simplicity and low-key would become the capital for others to bully me, my tolerance would be regarded as cowardice, and my deliberate frugality would be ridiculed as poverty and incompetence by those vain and arrogant rich classmates. In our senior class, there was a small group of rich and powerful students who gathered together all year round, relying on their family's wealth and power to act arrogantly on campus. They loved to form cliques, mock ordinary students, and take pleasure in stepping on others to elevate their own vanity and superiority. Among them, the leader was Lin Yuxi, the daughter of a mid-sized real estate developer in the city. Her family had a few million assets, which made her extremely arrogant and domineering. She always thought she was the top elite in the class, looked down on all ordinary students, and was especially hostile to me. Lin Yuxi had always been jealous of me. Even though I dressed plainly and kept a low profile, I had excellent grades, a calm and elegant temperament, and was always favored by professional teachers. Many male classmates in the class thought I was quiet and beautiful and had a good impression of me. This made vain Lin Yuxi extremely unbalanced. She could not tolerate a so-called poor student being more popular and more temperamental than her. Therefore, she often took the lead in mocking and isolating me in private, instigating other rich classmates to exclude me, and making up various false rumors to slander my reputation. The biggest joke in her mouth was my part-time job as a hotel cleaner. Ever since she accidentally found out that I worked as a cleaner at Qingyu International Hotel on weekends, she had never stopped mocking me. In every class gathering, every group chat, and every casual chat among classmates, she would take the initiative to bring up my part-time job, exaggerate my poverty and embarrassment, and belittle my worth wantonly to set off her own noble status. Xin Qing is really pitiful. She has to work as a hotel cleaner every weekend just to earn a little living expenses. She can't even afford a decent dress, and she has to pick up leftover part-time jobs that no one else wants. I really don't understand why she studies so hard, and no matter how good her grades are, she's just a poor student who can only do manual labor. Her future is destined to be ordinary and humble, and she can never compare with us who have family backgrounds. Qingyu Hotel is a high-end 5-star hotel. All the guests there are wealthy elites. The cleaners are the lowest level staff in the hotel. She goes to clean toilets and sort garbage every week. It's so embarrassing and humiliating. Every time Lin Yuxi spoke these sarcastic words, the group of followers around her would burst into mocking laughter. They echoed her words, belittled my part-time job as humble and lowly, and laughed at my poor family background, saying that I was born inferior and doomed to be mediocre all my life. Many neutral classmates were also subtly influenced. Gradually, more and more people in the class looked at me with strange eyes, full of pity, disdain, and contempt. Everyone thought I was struggling at the bottom of life, helpless and powerless, and could only rely on physical labor to make ends meet. No one knew that the lowly cleaner job they laughed at was my own hotel, and every inch of the luxurious hotel land, every expensive decoration, every high-end service facility, and every elite guest they admired was completely under my control. I have always turned a blind eye to these ridicules and slanders. I never explained or defended myself. I thought that the vanity of young students was trivial and not worth my attention. I thought that as long as I kept my heart steady, time would prove everything, and there was no need to argue with ignorant and arrogant people. I tolerated their repeated provocations again and again, choosing to swallow all the grievances and maintain my low-key life. But my tolerance did not bring peace. Instead, it fueled their arrogance infinitely, making them more unscrupulous in bullying me until they completely touched my bottom line and pushed this farce to an irreversible extreme. Hashtag the rising conflict, public humiliation, and unreasonable bullying. A week before graduation, our class planned the most luxurious and grand graduation celebration dinner of the entire grade. In order to show off her family's financial strength and win the title of class elite, Lin Yushi took the initiative to contract all the expenses of the graduation dinner and deliberately booked the highest standard luxury banquet hall on the top floor of Qingyu International Hotel, the very hotel where I worked as a part-time cleaner. When she announced the dinner location in the class group, she was extremely proud and arrogant. She deliberately posted a lot of photos of the hotel's luxurious lobby, high-end banquet hall, and exquisite Western meals in the group, and spoke in a condescending tone to show off her superiority. I specially booked the top-level Sky Banquet Hall of Qingyu International Hotel for our graduation dinner. This is the most luxurious 5-star hotel in the city. Ordinary people can't even get in the door if they want to. The minimum consumption of this banquet hall is 50,000 yuan a night. It's not something poor people can afford. After showing off, she immediately targeted me deliberately, posting another sentence with obvious sarcasm and provocation. Some classmates usually clean the toilets here and work as handymen. This time, you can finally sit in the luxurious banquet hall and have a good meal. Don't be too moved. After all, this is the first and probably the only time in your life that you can enter such a high-end occasion. As soon as these words came out, the entire class group exploded with laughter. All the rich classmates followed Lin Yushi's lead and mocked me one after another, taking my low-key part-time job as the biggest joke of the graduation season. Ha ha ha. Shunqing usually cleans here. Now she can eat here for free. What a lucky thing. She must be very excited. After sweeping the floor for so long, she finally got to enjoy the high-end environment of the hotel. Don't laugh at her. After all, this kind of luxury is out of her reach in normal times. This graduation dinner is already the peak of her life. Facing the endless ridicule in the group, I still kept silent and did not reply a word. I had completely looked down on their childish vanity and ignorant arrogance. But I did not expect that Lin Yushi's provocation was far more than that. She was determined to trample on my dignity completely at the graduation dinner, let me lose face in front of the whole class, and completely set off her own noble status. On the day of the graduation dinner, all classmates dressed up carefully. The rich students wore custom-made luxury dresses and designer suits, with limited edition jewelry and brand-name bags, gathering together to show off and compare with each other, creating a vain and luxurious atmosphere. I still wore my usual simple white shirt and black casual pants, with no makeup, no accessories, clean and plain, walking into the hotel banquet hall quietly. I just wanted to finish the last class dinner peacefully, and my 4-year university career, and leave this vain circle completely. But as soon as I walked into the banquet hall, Lin Yushi, who was surrounded by a crowd of followers, immediately saw me. She walked towards me arrogantly with her head held high and stopped me in front of all classmates, deliberately raising her voice to let everyone present hear clearly. Shunqing, do you know how to behave? Today is our grand graduation dinner at a 5-star luxury hotel. Everyone is dressed formally and elegantly, but you wear such shabby and tacky ordinary clothes. Are you here to sweep the floor or serve dishes again? Her words were sharp and harsh, full of undisguised disgust and contempt. Before I could respond, she pointed to the hotel staff uniform not far away and continued to mock me wantonly in front of the whole class. Look at the cleaning staff over there. Their uniforms are cleaner and more formal than your clothes. You are used to being a cleaner, so you don't even know the most basic etiquette of high-end occasions, right? The whole audience burst into loud laughter. All the classmates stared at me with mocking eyes, as if I was a complete outsider who did not belong to this luxurious occasion. Lin Yushi became more and more arrogant when she saw the whole class echoing her. She took a step forward, approached me, and said in a cold and sarcastic tone that only the two of us could hear, but with enough malice to hurt people. Shunqing, I know you have always been jealous of me. You're jealous that I have wealth and status, jealous that I can stand in the upper class circle openly and above board, while you can only hide in the corner and do the lowest manual labor. Today I will let you understand the gap between us forever. You will never be able to cross the class gap in your life. After finishing speaking, she suddenly raised her hand, took out a stack of cash from her luxury designer bag, and stuffed it heavily into my palm. The banknotes were scattered all over the ground in front of everyone's eyes, extremely dazzling and humiliating. Here is 500 yuan. Take it as a tip from me. After all, you are used to picking up hard-earned money in this hotel. Today, you can serve all of us classmates well, pour tea and water for everyone, and be a good temporary waiter. This money is your reward. This action completely humiliated me to the extreme. The entire banquet hall fell into a noisy uproar. All the classmates pointed at me and laughed, their eyes full of ridicule and disdain. In their eyes, I was a poor, humble, and greedy person who could only rely on serving others to get small rewards. Many classmates who usually had a little friendship with me also chose to stand by and watch, even following the crowd to show their superiority, fearing that they would be implicated by my humble status. Lin Yushi stood in the center of the crowd, enjoying the pleasure of trampling on me. She raised her chin proudly and announced loudly to everyone, "From today on, I want everyone to remember the gap between people. Some people are born to stand on the top and enjoy luxury, while some people are born humble and can only serve others. This is fate that no one can change." The endless ridicule and the blatant humiliation completely broke my last trace of tolerance. I have always adhered to the principle of being kind to others, keeping a low profile, and forgiving trivial matters. I thought that youth's ignorance and vanity were forgivable, and I had been tolerating their repeated provocations. But I never thought that my kindness and low-key would be regarded as weakness and cowardice, allowing them to bully me unscrupulously and trample on my dignity wantonly in public. Since she loves vanity and class superiority so much, since she is obsessed with trampling on others to elevate herself, then I will completely shatter all her false glory in front of the whole class tonight, and let her taste the most desperate and humiliating fall from the peak of arrogance to the abyss of despair. #explosive reversal. The true identity shocks the entire audience. I stood quietly in the center of the noisy banquet hall, letting the scattered cash lie on the ground, and letting the mocking voices surround me. There was no anger or panic on my face, only a calm and cold indifference that made people feel terrified. Under the confused and mocking gaze of all my classmates, I slowly took out my exclusive Black Supreme private owner card of Qingyu International Hotel Group from my pocket. This card was extremely low-key and simple in appearance, with no fancy patterns, only a faint carved hotel group logo on the front, which ordinary staff and guests could not recognize at all. Lin Yushi saw the ordinary card in my hand and immediately laughed sarcastically. "What is that? Your ordinary employee access card for cleaning work? Do you want to show off your low-level worker identity to everyone? It's even more embarrassing." All the classmates laughed more wantonly, thinking that I was desperate and trying to save my face with a useless employee card. I ignored their ridicule, took out my mobile phone calmly, and dialed the exclusive emergency contact number of the hotel group's general manager. The call was connected instantly, and my voice was cold and calm without any emotion. "I am at the top floor Sky Banquet Hall. Come here immediately with all senior management staff, group qualification certificates, and hotel property right documents. All top-level executives must be present within 3 minutes." After hanging up the phone, I stood quietly on the spot, waiting for the arrival of the management team. Lin Yushi looked at my calm appearance and thought I was pretending to be calm to cover up my embarrassment. She crossed her arms and mocked more arrogantly. "Who are you calling? Your fellow cleaner colleagues. Do you want them to come and accompany you to be embarrassed?" Xin Qing admitted, "You are just a poor cleaner. Don't pretend to be mysterious here. I booked this banquet hall with my family's money. I am the most distinguished guest here tonight. No one can change the fact that you are humble and ordinary." Her followers also echoed wildly, mocking my futile struggle and pretending posture. But no one expected that 3 minutes later, the entire elevator passage of the top floor was suddenly opened. A group of senior management staff in neat formal suits walked out quickly in a solemn and orderly line. The leading middle-aged man was none other than the top general manager of Qingyu International Hotel Group, the most authoritative person in charge of the entire hotel. Behind him were the hotel's deputy general managers, operation directors, customer service directors, security directors, and all department supervisors. Nearly 30 senior executives rushed to the banquet hall quickly, with solemn expressions and neat steps, creating an extremely shocking and grand scene. All the classmates in the banquet hall were instantly stunned. The noisy laughter stopped abruptly, and everyone stared at the sudden group of senior executives with stunned faces, full of confusion and shock. Lin Yushi was also stunned on the spot. She was extremely puzzled why the hotel's top management team suddenly appeared at the graduation dinner she booked. She thought the general manager was here to greet her because of her family's face. A trace of pride and complacency immediately appeared on her face. She quickly sorted out her dress, raised her head high, and took the initiative to walk forward, preparing to shake hands with the general manager and show off her connections and status in front of her classmates. She walked quickly to the general manager, stretched out her hand actively, and said with a proud smile, "Manager, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come over. I booked today's banquet hall that I didn't expect to alarm all the senior executives. It's my honor." However, the general manager completely ignored her outstretched hand, did not even glance at her, and directly walked past her side without stopping for a second. Lin Yushi's smile froze rigidly on her face. Her outstretched hand froze in the air, extremely embarrassed and awkward. She stared blankly at the general manager's back, unable to believe that she was completely ignored. Under the stunned gaze of the entire audience, the usually dignified and aloof general manager walked straight towards me. He stopped steadily in front of me, bent his waist deeply at 90 degrees, and bowed respectfully with an extremely pious and solemn attitude. His voice was loud and powerful, spreading clearly to every corner of the entire banquet hall. "Respected President Shen, all senior management staff of Qingyu International Hotel Group are reporting to you. We are late for the reception. Please forgive us." Boom. The entire banquet hall exploded completely. A huge thunder-like shock swept through everyone's heart in an instant. All the classmates were completely petrified. Their eyes widened to the extreme, their mouths opened wide, and their faces were full of incredible horror and disbelief. Everyone was stiff on the spot, unable to move or speak for a long time. The ordinary poor student who was ridiculed as a humble cleaner, the girl who was humiliated for wearing cheap clothes and could only do manual labor, the person who was trampled on by everyone as inferior and mediocre, was actually the supreme president and absolute owner of this entire five-star luxury hotel group. The luxurious Sky Banquet Hall that Lin Yushi spent 50,000 yuan to book to show off her wealth was just a trivial venue under my name. The high-end hotel that all rich classmates admired and yearned for was completely my private property. The cleaner part-time job that everyone laughed at was just my casual experience life. I was not struggling to make a living, but condescending to experience the most ordinary life. Lin Yushi's whole body trembled violently, her legs went weak, and she almost collapsed to the ground. Her face turned from pale to bloodless in an instant, and all the pride, arrogance, and complacency on her face completely vanished, replaced by endless panic, fear, and desperate regret. She stared at me blankly, her mind completely blank. She couldn't accept this terrifying reality for a moment. The person she had mocked, humiliated, and trampled on wantonly was the big boss she could never afford to offend in her entire life. The general manager stood up straight, held the official group property rights certificate with both hands, and publicly announced in front of all stunned classmates, "Let me formally introduce to all of you. Miss Shen Qing is the sole legal shareholder, absolute controlling person, and founder of Qingyu International Hotel Group. All chain hotels under our brand, all venue properties, and all group assets are 100% privately owned by Miss Shen. This hotel, including all consumption, venues, and facilities here tonight, belongs entirely to President Shen. President Shen has been keeping a low profile and studying in university incognito, never revealing her identity. She takes a part-time job in the hotel just for life experience, not for making a living." These words completely shattered all the cognition of the classmates present. All the ridicule, all the contempt, all the humiliation just now became the most ridiculous joke in the world. I stood calmly in the center of the crowd, my cold eyes slowly sweeping over Lin Yushi's terrified and desperate face, and my clear voice resounded throughout the silent banquet hall. "You just said I was born humble, that I could only serve others, that the class gap between us could never be crossed. You spent 50,000 yuan to book my venue, showing off your so-called wealth and status, and took the initiative to humiliate me with cash, mocking my part-time job and my clothes. Now tell me, who is the real humble one? Who is the clown who is overestimating himself?" Every word I said was cold and powerful, hitting Lin Yushi's heart hard, making her tremble constantly and almost out of breath. All the classmates bowed their heads deeply in shame. Their faces were burning with pain, and they were extremely regretful for their blind snobbery and ignorant ridicule just now. They had mistakenly regarded a hidden top tycoon as a poor humble student and rushed to bully and mock her. IT was the most foolish mistake in their entire university life. Hashtag final absolute counterattack and thorough ending. Lin Yushi finally recovered from the extreme shock. She collapsed on the ground with a plop, tears streaming down her face, completely losing all her arrogance and dignity. She crawled towards me tremblingly, grabbed my trouser legs tightly with both hands, and kowtowed repeatedly to beg for mercy, her voice hoarse and desperate. "President Shen, I'm wrong. I'm blind and ignorant. I have no eyes to recognize Mount Tai. I don't know your noble identity. I was vain and arrogant. I deliberately humiliated you. I'm guilty. Please forgive me. Don't punish me. I was confused for a moment and was blinded by vanity. I apologize to you. I kowtow to you. Please give me a chance. Don't ruin my future." She cried bitterly and begged repeatedly, completely embarrassed and humble, without a trace of the previous domineering and arrogant posture. All her followers who had mocked me just now also turned pale with fright, standing stiffly on the spot, trembling and daring not to make a sound, extremely scared that I would hold them accountable for their previous ridicule and bullying. I looked at the kneeling Lin Yuxi indifferently, without the slightest pity in my eyes. All the humiliation was intentional by her. All the ridicule was her voluntary malice, and all the arrogance was her own choice, and one forced her to be vain and bully others. She had to pay the price for her ignorance and malice. I turned to look at the general manager beside me and gave my final cold order. First, completely cancel all consumption permissions and reservation qualifications of Lin Yuxi and her family in all hotels and industries under Qingyu Group. Permanently blacklist them in the group's global customer system. From today on, none of her family members are allowed to enter any of our hotels, resorts, and high-end venues for life, and all cooperative relations are completely terminated. Second, issue a formal public notice in the city's high-end business circle and university education circle, fully exposing Lin Yuxi's snobbish behavior of judging people by appearance, publicly humiliating classmates, and arrogant bullying, letting all elites and peers see her true face. Third, comprehensively sort out all previous behaviors of all students who took the initiative to follow others to humiliate and slander me, record their bad behaviors in the hotel's credit system, and permanently reject all their high-end consumption and venue reservation qualifications. Fourth, cancel all preferential cooperation qualifications between the hotel group and Lin Yuxi's family real estate company, terminate all ongoing business projects, and completely cut off all industrial connections, letting their family's small enterprise bear the corresponding economic losses. Execute all orders immediately, no exceptions. Yes, we will strictly implement all instructions of President Shen. The general manager and all senior executives responded respectfully in unison, with neat and solemn voices. Lin Yuxi was completely desperate when she heard the punishment result. She collapsed on the ground and wailed loudly. Her family's small business was originally struggling to survive, relying on some high-end business cooperation to maintain profits. Once all cooperation was terminated, her family's enterprise would face huge losses and even the risk of bankruptcy. Moreover, being permanently blacklisted from all high-end hotels in the city meant that she was completely excluded from the entire upper-class social circle. All her vanity, connections, and elite dreams were completely shattered in an instant. She originally wanted to use a luxurious dinner to show off her status and humiliate others, but she completely ruined her family's business and her own future with her own hands. She became the biggest joke of the entire university and the city's youth circle overnight. All the classmates who had followed the crowd to mock me were also extremely panicked. They knew that their future high-end social paths and business cooperation opportunities were completely blocked because of their momentary ignorance and snobbery. They were full of endless regret and self-blame, but it was too late to make up for it. The entire graduation dinner ended in complete silence and embarrassment. No one had the mood to continue the celebration. All the glory and vanity were completely shattered by my identity reversal. I turned and left the luxurious banquet hall calmly, under the respectful gaze of all senior executives and the ashamed gaze of all classmates. I have always believed that true wealth and status do not need external pretense and display. Real strength is hidden in the heart, not on the clothes and identity tags. I keep a low profile because I disdain vanity, not because I am inferior. I am tolerant and kind because I am broad-minded, not because I am weak and cowardly. No matter how ordinary my appearance is, no matter how simple my dress is, the strength and wealth in my hands are the most solid confidence in my life. Those who are arrogant because of trivial vanity, bully others because of superficial status, and trample on others' dignity because of blind superiority will eventually fall into the abyss dug by their own greed and ignorance. From then on, no one in the whole school dared to judge me by my appearance, no one dared to bully me because of my low profile, and no one dared to be arrogant and snobbish in front of me. I finished my 4-year university career peacefully, bid farewell to the vain campus circle, and continued to guard my own career and life with a low-key and powerful attitude. Low-key is my choice, strength is my bottom line, and kindness always has edges and corners.